Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranja Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranja Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tera Vanachari Yamuna Tera Vanachari Hare Kṛṣṇa Hare Kṛṣṇa Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Sri Radhe. Jaya Radha Madana Mohan, Radha Madana Mohan, Sri Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Sri Radhe. Jaya Radha Gopinata, Radha Gopinata, Sri Radhe. Jaya Radha Shama Sundar, Radha Sundar, Sri Radhe. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Go Haribo. Nitai Go Shitanath Premanande. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Uttarayasham Gopal Krishna Krishna Tamam Bhadasya Cittaṁ Yapakasham Tirasa Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Simate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshakarine Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyanangana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurabhe Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandehang Shiguru Shijuta Padakamalam Shigurum Vaishnavamscha Sirupang Sagrajatan Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitang Sadbhadutang Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam He Krishna Karuna Shindo Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanespare Visabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaisnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Ghora Bhakta Binda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Chapter 12, Bhagavad Gita as it is, devotional service, text number 9. Hare Krishna. Shukriya. Atha cittaṁ samādhātuṁ na śaknoṣi mayi sthiram abhyāsa-yogena tato icchāptuṁ dhanam-jaya. Somebody else?
atha cittaṁ samādhātuṁ
Atha cittaṁ samādhātuṁ
śaknoṣi mayi sthiram
na śaknoṣi mayi sthiram
abhyāsa-yogena tato
abhyāsa-yogena tato
icchāptuṁ dhanañ-jaya
icchāptuṁ dhanam-jaya.
cittaṁ samādhātuṁ
atha cittaṁ samādhātuṁ
śaknoṣi mayi sthiram
śaknoṣi mayi sthiram
abhyāsa-yogena tato icchāptuṁ dhanam-jaya
āptum dhanam-jaya. Atha cittaṁ samādhātuṁ śaknoṣi mayi sthiram
abhyāsa-yogena tato icchāptuṁ dhanam-jaya.
Mataji?
atha cittaṁ samādhātuṁ
Atha cittaṁ samādhātuṁ
na śaknoṣi mayi sthiram
abhyāsa-yogena tato icchāptuṁ dhanam-jaya.
Word for word meaning? Atha, if, therefore, cittaṁ, mind, samādhātuṁ, to fix, na, not, śaknoṣi, you are able, mayi, upon me, sthiram, steadily, abhyāsa-yogena, by the practice of devotional service, tataḥ, then, mam, me, icchā, desire, āptum, to get, dhanam-jaya, O winner of wealth. Arjuna. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of bhakti-yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. Everybody, please repeat, every one of you, that verse. Go ahead. You say go ahead. All together.
My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind on me without deviation, then follow paths of bhakti-yoga. In this way, they have a desire to attain.
Purport. In this verse, two different processes of bhakti-yoga are indicated. The first applies to one who has actually developed an attachment for Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by transcendental love. And the other is for one who has not developed an attachment for the Supreme Person by transcendental love. For this second class, there are different prescribed rules and regulations one can follow to be ultimately elevated to the stage of attachment to Kṛṣṇa. Bhakti Yoga is the purification of the senses. At the present moment in material existence, the senses are always impure, being engaged in sense gratification. But by the practice of Bhakti Yoga, these senses can become purified. And in the purified state, they come directly in contact with the Supreme Lord. In this material existence, I may be engaged in some service to some master, but I don't really lovingly serve my master. I simply serve to get some money. And the master also is not in love. He takes service from me and pays me. So there is no question of love. But for a spiritual life, one must be elevated to the pure stage of love. That stage of love can be achieved by practice of devotional service, performed with the present senses. This love of God is now in a dormant state of everyone's heart, and their love of God is manifested in different ways, but it is contaminated by material association. Now the heart has to be purified of the material association, and that dormant natural love for Kṛṣṇa has to be revived. That is the whole process. To practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, one should, under the guidance of an expert spiritual master, follow certain principles. One should rise early in the morning, take bath, enter the temple and offer prayers and chant Hare Krishna. Then collect flowers to offer to the deity. Cook foodstuffs to offer to the deity. Take prasadam and so on. There are various rules and regulations which one should follow. And one should constantly hear Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad Bhagavatam from pure devotees. This practice can help anyone rise to the level of love of God. And then he is sure of his progress into the spiritual kingdom of God. This practice of Bhakti Yoga, under the rules and regulations, with the direction of a spiritual master, will surely bring one to the stage of love of God. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Atha cittaṁ samādhātuṁ na śaknoṣi mayi sthiram abhyāsa-yogena tato mam icchāptuṁ dhanam-jaya. So as mentioned here in the Purport by Srila Prabhupada, there are two processes one can have in Bhakti Yoga. And the first one is about having that actual development of attachment for Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by transcendental love. That means one is already on that platform whereby is actually having that attachment. What do you call that? A Shakti. Yes, a Shakti. After Nistha, then Ruchi, then Ashakti. Attachment. And there is another one who is not having that spontaneous attachment for Lord Kṛṣṇa, but he's also performing bhakti, but that bhakti has to be done because it is not that spontaneous having loving devotional service towards the Supreme Lord. That means bhakti is being executed by following rules and regulations. The word Prabhupada translated bhakti or abhyāsa-yogena, by the practice of devotional service. It's like, Prabhupada gave an example. It's like a mango. A mango fruit, in the beginning it is green, but then later on it becomes ripened. And then both are mango, both have the same taste of mango, but the ripened one is a better taste. It's very sweet. So similarly, in the beginning of our executing bhakti, because the whole purpose of the performing bhakti is to ultimately develop love for Kṛṣṇa or attain love for Kṛṣṇa. Prema bhakti. That means he already attained love of God. That is the ultimate goal of performing devotional service, to attain love of God. But to attain love of God, we have to perform sadhana bhakti, regulative principles. There are do's and don'ts that we have to follow. It is not that a child automatically will, as soon as the child took birth, started to run. Yeah? So, in the beginning, the child has to grow up a little bit, learn how to crawl, then start to walk, but not really walking straight. Many falling here and there. And eventually, later on, when the child started to walk, he immediately actually would like to run. Yeah, but again, no, you cannot run immediately. The child will have some accidents and he'll have so many scratches on the elbows and the knees and so on. So one must be very careful. So similarly, the process of bhakti-yoga is that in order for us to develop attachment, see, after the attachment, it'll become bhava bhakti. That means the preliminary stage of love of God. Still, that is not the end. The end is that when one ultimately attained love of God by following this process. Srila Rupa Goswami, he explains this process. It's like a science. It has to be performed systematically, logically, gradually. Then one will make advancement. And one will attain transcendental love for the Supreme Lord. So what is explained here, actually this is a series of verses starting from starting from 8 verse. Let me read this, Starting, there is a flow of the chapter 12. Chapter 12 is entitled Bhakti-yoga, devotional service. So, In text 8, previous to this, it says, just fix your mind upon me and enter into me. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. That means be able to get Kṛṣṇa, attain Kṛṣṇa. And then text 9, where we are here discussing, it says, if you cannot do that, then practice abhyāsa-yoga. This is an important word here, abhyāsa-yoga, by the practice of devotional service. And then text 12 or 10 to 12 is a step-by-step options again. If you cannot practice by following the regulative principles, then you work for Kṛṣṇa. So there is a chapter here in the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 4. Is it? Let me see. No, chapter 5 actually. Karma Yoga, action in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So anyone, I've read it. Some place where Prabhupada says that work, even if you work outside, even if it doesn't have anything that has connection with Lord Kṛṣṇa, it can be also bhakti-yoga. If the fruits of the labor is given or offered to Kṛṣṇa, the fruits, yes, the fruits of one's actions. So, if one cannot do that, then offer results. Work for Kṛṣṇa, offer results, and then ultimately cultivate knowledge. That is the series here. 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So for the next couple of verses, 10, 11, and 12 also, one will be able to understand ultimately how one can cultivate this gradual process of bhakti yoga and ultimately attain Kṛṣṇa. So yes. So why there is this what do you call it, sequence? Because it shows a different level of qualifications. Not all of us are equally receptive in understanding Kṛṣṇa or attaining Lord Kṛṣṇa. We're all different categories of conditioning. That's what it means. We're all like some, they can follow a certain thing, and then the others can do the other things. But ultimately, the goal will be the same. Yeah? So, it says here, repeatedly mentions abhyāsa, practice. Abhyāsa-yoga. Abhyāsa means practice, and to repeatedly doing it again and again. That is what it called sadhana bhakti, isn't it? We do the same thing again and again every day. Huh?
Yes.
Especially taking prasadam every day. Huh? Others may come for Mangalartik or not come for Mangalartik, but you have to come for Mangalartik every day. Chant our rounds every day. Read Bhagavad Gita every day. Hear the Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Chant our prescribed number of rounds. The holy name of the Lord. Do practical service during the whole day. Don't give any gap. But we go to sleep, get up. I mean, I can speak for myself. But Kṛṣṇa, one has to focus in Kṛṣṇa. And then yoga, abhyāsa-yoga. Yoga, what's the meaning of yoga? To link. To link, to connect. Our disease, Prabhupada mentions many times, is that we have forgotten Kṛṣṇa. We have forgotten Kṛṣṇa, and therefore we're put into miserable condition of life, full of suffering, having repeated birth and death, birth after birth, repeated cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. So by this practice of this following the regulative principles of bhakti-yoga, we started to link up again, even though we're still in the conditioned state. Yeah? When we see the Lord early in the morning, have darshan, all of our senses, our sense of sight, our sense of smell, when we smell the incense, the fragrant flowers offered to the Lord, when we use our feet going to the temple, when we use our hands to touch other devotees or the deities if you're a pujari, when we use our tongue for tasting prasadam and vibrating the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, then everything is being engaged. The whole purpose of bhakti-yoga is to engage the senses and the mind in serving the Supreme Lord, or anything which is in relation to Kṛṣṇa. So now, why do we need to practice? Why this practice is needed? It's like I've seen one father is training the child to ride on a bicycle. So again, in the beginning, the child has to learn how to balance, but the father is always there, trying to be sure that the child will not fall down. So similarly, in the conditioned life, our mind is wandering here and there. It's what you call scattered. Have you heard the word scattered brain? Scattered brain, that means, or scattered mind. It's not focus. It's like multifaceted, going here and there, thinking many things and desiring many things. It says that mind is scattered, that means it runs to sense objects, thinking of many things except Kṛṣṇa. And for lifetimes, the mind has been absorbed in material things, which means that we don't have this taste, we're lacking taste for Kṛṣṇa. Even though love is within our heart, it says dormant love of Kṛṣṇa is within everyone's heart. So, because we don't have taste, we're not able to realize that. Therefore, this practice, that what we're doing every day, that following the regulative principles of bhakti-yoga, the do's and the don'ts, is like a bridge that will bring us to, or connect us to Kṛṣṇa. And this is being done under the able and supervision of a bona fide spiritual master. It is needed. As Prabhupada says, and Shastra says, if one wants to make advancement in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, then one must be very serious and should take guidance under the superintendence or supervision under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. And we mentioned this also in our previous meetings when I was traveling, that the spiritual master is like a bridge that connects us to Kṛṣṇa. Yes. Without the spiritual master, without the bridge, if there is like a very strong current of water, there's no bridge, you want to cross, you'll be swayed, you'll be carried along by the waves of the water, and you'll be lost. I've seen a video. Right now especially, there's a tsunami. There was a big earthquake in Russia. 8.9? Is it 8.9 in Richter scale? That is like one of the most heavy earthquake in the planet. And now there's a tsunami going on in Russia and Japan and some parts of US. So anyone who's there in that earthquake and then the water comes in, it's very devastating. Yeah, I just saw the video, really 5-foot waves, not just 5 foot, maybe higher than that. So, somehow or other, we have to perform these regulative principles in bhakti-yoga in order for us to be able to get out of this material world and attain love for Kṛṣṇa. So how these things work? We mentioned this already, and now we're going to expand a little bit. The eyes, by engaging our senses in devotional service, the eyes in seeing the beautiful form of the Lord, by reading the scriptures, the ears in hearing Hare Krishna, Kirtan, lectures, and Harikatha, topics about the Supreme Lord. Kirtan, this is also Kirtan. Reading Bhagavad Gita is also Kirtan. Kirtan means glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by chanting His name, His fame, form, qualities, and pastimes. So we use the tongue. The tongue has two purpose: to vibrate and to taste. So we only eat Krishna Prasad, or we say we honor Krishna Prasad, and at the same time also only vibrate the holy name of the Lord, or anything that is in relation with Lord Krishna. The non-devotees, or those who are materialists, they use the tongue for prajalpa, for talking nonsense and tasting food which are not offered to Krishna. So all of these things that we're doing in the process of attaining Krishna is to purify ourselves. So it may seem like external, what we're doing. Of course, it is external, but this action creates a certain pattern in our mind that ultimately will be able for us to focus on Lord Krishna. That is the goal. To always remember Krishna and never forget Him. So as Prabhupada says, this is a gradual purification process. From the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 17 and 18, it says, hearing leads to purification, which leads to attraction. Another name for that is raga. Raga. It's like a devotee who has a spontaneous attraction to the Supreme Lord is called a ragatmika bhakta. Like the inhabitants of Vrindavan. Right now, our attraction to Lord Krishna is not spontaneous. It is we're just doing this out of duty. We're doing bhakti out of duty. We're not doing bhakti out of love. So that's two different things, right? We're doing bhakti now, or we're trying to do bhakti, but out of duty. Yeah? Huh? Yeah, Vaidhi Bhakti. So Mother Yasoda, Nanda Maharaj, the Sakhis, the Sakas, it's not like that. They're doing it spontaneously with love. So, our desire must be transformed. Again, Prabhupada used the word dovetailing. Dovetailing our activities into Krishna consciousness. So we may have material desires, no doubt about that. As long as we have this material body, the material desires will come and go. However, our desire should be only to please Krishna. And to make that desire stronger and stronger every day by again following the process again and again. So the do's and don'ts, because this is what I mean by regulative principles. What are the do's? These are the positive ones. Chanting fixed rounds daily without any offenses and attentively. Hearing Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. We're given all of these opportunities or facilities by Srila Prabhupada by establishing this Hare Krishna movement. This is the main purpose. Attending Mangalartik, yes. Serving Vaishnavas, number one. And also performing Archanam, deity worship. All of our activities revolves in deity worship. Am I correct? Everything that we do here is ultimately to please their lordships. And Srila Prabhupada, of course. So, the don'ts. The don'ts now, no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. So by positive practices, it will help our conditioning state to come to the purified platform. And says, these are restrictions protect from distraction. Ultimately, those prohibitive, regulative principles, the don'ts, will ultimately help us to become free. Actually, it is freedom. We're thinking, oh, why I cannot do that? Why I cannot do this? Actually, you'll become free after be able to control all of those urges of the senses, especially the mind. So in the beginning, it is like mechanical, right? Yeah, it is mechanical. I will chant because Kṛṣṇa said so. Or at the time of initiation, I'm chanting because I promised to the spiritual master in front of the Vaishnavas, in front of the deities, and in front of the camera that I will chant the holy name of the Lord. Now you may all forget, but if it's recorded, that will not be it will not be erased. Habit formation, abhyāsa. So yes, this is to train the mind ultimately to always think of Kṛṣṇa. Even though unwillingly the mind doesn't want to do this. Because austerity means performing something which is seemingly we don't want to do unwillingly, but because we have a purpose, we have a goal to achieve, even though unwillingly I don't want to do it, I will do it because I have a higher goal. Yes? And again, every time we do this again and again, this sadhana, bhakti, it becomes a habit. And if we miss Mangalartik, for those who are really sincere and serious, they feel bad inside. They feel guilty. Do you feel like that? Huh? Yeah? Even if you, let's say, even late. You don't want to be late, actually. Huh? To see the Lord. Because the Lord actually will be looking for you. when you're absent or you're late, Kṛṣṇa and Balaram will say, where is my devotee here? How come he's not here now? Maybe he's still sleeping. The Lord is waiting for us. Now, we may not have that feeling, but Kṛṣṇa, this is his only anxiety. When are we going to go back home, back to Godhead? As soon as possible. Kṛṣṇa is more anxious for us to go back to Godhead than we do.
He also given all facilities.
Yes, everything is there. So, purification and taste. See, that's why Krishna consciousness is a science. Ultimately, we'll have the taste. After purification, we'll have the taste. Our heart becomes pure, becomes lighter. Have you had that experience sometimes that your heart is heavy because you did something which is not supposed to be done, or you commit an offense towards devotees? If you are not feeling heaviness in the heart when you commit an offense to a devotee, that means you are in big trouble. And that is the worst thing that one can do. Sadhu ninda, Vaishnav ninda. Especially, ultimately, the greatest is Guru ninda. By disobeying the instructions coming from the spiritual master, it is considered to be an offense. So, by following this, we can tell whether I'm getting purified or I'm starting to have taste in this process. Even in the very beginning, that one starts to feel joy in chanting and hearing. The reason, if we are not having that taste for hearing and chanting, that means we're still not able to follow the process the way it should be done. That means we're having difficulty because of our offenses. Then ultimately, we'll become absorbed in smaranam. What's smaranam? Remembrance. So again, it's a process, right? Ultimately, the mind will automatically run towards Kṛṣṇa. There'll be not a second that the mind will not think of Kṛṣṇa. When will that day come? When will that day come? And that is our goal. So practice makes one perfect, and ultimately, when one becomes mature, one will develop love for Kṛṣṇa. So we should not be mechanical forever. We should not do things mechanically all the time. Prabhupada says we should chant the holy name of the Lord lovingly, with feelings. Not just, because I promise I have to chant 16 rounds, and I just chant without being absorbed, without feeling that separation or love for Kṛṣṇa. Of course, in the beginning it may be like that, but it should not be like that forever. The aim is to constantly remember Kṛṣṇa, smaranam. This is what? Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, smaranam. Isn't it? Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, smaranam. So that's why Prabhupada says, I'm good in hearing. That's why I'm good in chanting. And if you are good in hearing and chanting, then one will be good in remembering. You cannot be good in remembering if you're not good in hearing and chanting. That's not possible. So from the purport, Abhyāsa-yoga means the yoga of practice. If one is unable to fix his mind upon Kṛṣṇa at once, he should practice thinking of Kṛṣṇa by chanting, hearing, and so on. This practice will enable him to remember Kṛṣṇa constantly. That's why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his prescription, especially for those who are in Kali Yuga, is to always chant the holy name of the Lord. Constantly. When he says constantly, means at all times. So, we have to practice devotional service, and then ultimately our desire will change. We may have, while practicing in the beginning, the regulative principles of bhakti-yoga with material desires, but this will change. This will ultimately becomes purified, the desire. From being self-centered by having ego, false ego, to ultimately become Krishna-centered. And says here that as desire changes, then remembrance becomes natural. That's why it says in the beginning of, when we chant the holy name of the Lord, Prabhupada says, he was asked, what do you think when you chant the holy name of the Lord? Prabhupada says, you don't think of anything. You just hear the sound vibration. Of course, our goal is that when we chant, we will remember Kṛṣṇa. But it is not possible to remember Kṛṣṇa immediately in the beginning stage. But as we chant, gradually we become pure, and then ultimately remembrance of Kṛṣṇa becomes natural. And attainment of Kṛṣṇa is assured. Okay? So in conclusion, don't be discouraged if you're not able to think of Kṛṣṇa immediately or spontaneously. We should be very careful to think, I've been chanting for 20 years. How come this is not working? Seems to be something is wrong with the process. There is no problem with the process. The problem is our application. So don't be discouraged if you cannot remember Kṛṣṇa spontaneously. Keep following the principles as a practice, and gradually we should increase our desire to obtain Kṛṣṇa. In the beginning, because when one performs, even in the mechanical stage of following these things, these regulative principles of bhakti, they may acquire some material benefits. It comes along with it. But one should not mistakenly think that this is the result of when one practices bhakti-yoga. This is like a French benefit. You've heard of French benefit or byproduct or the result? No. This is like an additional, but that is not the goal. So we should have always this, keep us in mind that, but others, they mistakenly, let me still keep chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra or do bhakti, and then maybe my material opulences will also increase. Ooh. That is a big mistake. Finally, ultimately, our practice will transform into love. Again, from the Purport, last one. The more one is engaged in devotional service, the more he gains attachment to Kṛṣṇa. As soon as this attachment becomes very strong, one can practice meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead without deviation. This is the stage of real yoga. It's from the Purport. Okay? So I think I will stop here now. We explained a little bit of how this will transform us ultimately for us to be able to remember Kṛṣṇa all the time. And this is our goal, actually, ultimately, to always remember Kṛṣṇa and never forget Kṛṣṇa. Hare Krishna! Any questions or point? Yes.
Prabhupada mentioned that
Huh?
purport. Prabhupada mentioned that purport.
Yeah.
One should constantly clear Bhagavad from pure devil.
From pure devotees. We're hearing from Prabhupada. We're just
So I can read
repeating.
in my info.
No, you have because you can read at home also without, but you will understand more the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of devotees. This is the advantages.
But Prabhupada mentioned the pure devotee. Why he mentioned pure devotees?
Yeah, this is a pure devotee.
But pure, he mentioned pure devotee. Pure devotee.
Yeah, it is pure devotee. Prabhupada's purport, coming from pure devotee. Now, we're just trying to repeat. Prabhupada says also, if you repeat what Kṛṣṇa says, that makes you also perfect. That your message should not be putting some masala. Otherwise, the taste will change. Yeah? How many of you like to eat with spicy food stuff? I don't like that. You go to Russia, you will never have spicy food stuff. But they're very healthy. Yeah. So, a pure devotee means he is fixed in Kṛṣṇa. That's all. If you are fixed in Kṛṣṇa, that means you're a pure devotee. And the reason why we're doing this is that we become fixed to Kṛṣṇa. And as long as we are only repeating what Prabhupada says and what we've heard from the scriptures, that makes us also a pure devotee. Prabhupada says a kanista adhikari can be also pure. There is a pure kanista adhikari, pure Vaishnava. We think that pure Vaishnava is only the Uttama Bhakta? Huh? No, even a sweeper who's just sweeping the floor of the temple, of the mandir, and he does not have anything, any desire for himself, is a pure devotee. His only purpose is to please the Lord, serve the Vaishnavas, even though he's a sweeper. He's a pure devotee.
But they want money.
No. Others, they don't want anything. They just want to serve. Prabhupada gave an example of the materialist or the worker that they will only work because they want something in return. They got to be paid. But a pure devotee of the Lord, of course, he may need something to maintain himself. How can you eat? Where are you going to get your chapati? Oh, okay, you can go to Kṛṣṇa Hall. It's free prasadam. But he will not be able to help others though, to make advancement in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Because a kanista, he cannot help another person or another devotee to come even to the Madhyam platform. That's why if you want to get out of this world, then you should choose an Uttama Bhakta. pure devotee.
Yes.
Okay? So we hear from Srila Prabhupada, and when we repeat what we've heard from the scriptures, anyone who speaks on the Vyasa-san and he doesn't have any envy at all, he is a pure devotee. Yeah.
Some qualities.
Yeah. Any other points? Yes.
This flow from Maharaj, mayi sthiram,
Where?
second line.
Sthiram. Mayi sthiram. Yes.
Sixth, sthiram means steadily, right?
Yeah. Stira. Steady.
Steady. That is, for that purpose only we are practicing, right?
Yeah, we become steady. Because again, our mind is chanchala, is wandering, is scattered. Scattered. That means we're multi-branched. We're not focused. Being steady means focus. We're doing something and then we think of something else. We will stop or we will pause what we're doing and we'll do another thing. And then, I'm thinking another thing. Okay, I stop this one. Oh, let me do another thing. So how are you going to finish the first one? And the second one? I'm like that also sometimes. And I'm sure you are also like that sometimes.
Yes, 100%.
And everyone is like that sometimes. No. When you're cooking, you just cook. I've seen one devotee, he's cooking at the same time he's checking, Seriously. I saw it here in Vrindavan.
That is one.
Checking maybe the WhatsApp, what's going on, or
Talking.
and cooking.
Same time talking.
Is that good or not? How is Kṛṣṇa going to accept? Even though the one who's going to offer to Kṛṣṇa what you cook is very focused. So it starts from the one who is cooking, then the one who is preparing, the plate, and then the one who is offering and ringing the bell. This is how it goes. So everyone in the deity department, everyone in the kitchen should be focused. Right? That's why mobile phones is not allowed in the kitchen or on the altar. No, they're not allowed. But still they do it. Hare Krishna. We're not supposed to do it. When you're dealing with the Lord, you just focus. It's a constant meditation. Fixed, steady, focused. One pointed attention. Should be like that. And when you're preaching, we have a campus preaching program here, you should be focused also. Everything that we do. It's not that, I'm sorry, I'll get back to you later, okay? I have something to do. Then what the other person will think? This fellow is not so serious. Yes?
All our sadhana based on this mayi sthiram, steadily.
Steady. That is what I mean by sadhana bhakti. Even the topmost Uttama Bhakta, Mahabhagavat, he is steady.
We have seen our Guru Maharaj.
He is steady in his habits. That's why Bhagavad Gita says, Arjuna asks, what does a yogi do? How does he walk? How does he eat? How does he sleep? How does he work? Everything is balanced. Don't eat too much, don't eat too little. Don't sleep too much, don't sleep too little. Don't work too much, don't work too little. Balanced. When you're balanced, you become steady. When you're imbalanced, you're not steady. It's like, you've seen these kids who goes to the, the tightrope. They're steady. It may take them some time to go from one point to the other point, but they have this stick, right, to balance them. So the balancing act is that when we perform this sadhana bhakti, ultimately our goal is to go to the other end. And if you are not steady, you'll not be able to reach the other end. You'll not be able to remember Kṛṣṇa. We understand? Srila Prabhupada K. Nitaya Gaur Sita Nat Premananda.